United States border officials refused to allow French scientists to enter this country. I bet you can't guess why. This was reported by Truthout, and I thought, okay, a French scientist denied permission to enter the United States. What the fuck could he have done? Well, here's what he did. When he was stopped on entering the United States and his electronic devices were searched, it was discovered that he had messages to his colleagues on his phone, on his iPad, on his computer, whatever. He had messages to his colleagues that were critical of President Donald Trump. Messages critical of the toilet rat. So based on that, this French scientist was told, nah. Now, the scientist, whose name is currently not known, but reportedly works for the National Center for Scientific Research in France. This scientist was on his way to Houston for a conference. And it's not known at the time why border authorities stopped him. But they stopped him, searched his devices, and they discovered text messages that one source told the French news agency these messages were interpreted as displaying, quote, hatred towards Trump that could be qualified as terrorism, end quote. Well, holy fuck. If that is the case, can you imagine what is in the immediate future for your little old humble and obedient servant here in the foothills of the North Georgia mountains? Of course, I'm not a French person. I am an American, which now doesn't mean a goddamn thing where it concerns protection of the U.S. Constitution. Now, that bullshit threat of terrorism that was leveled against this French scientist was very short-lived. An FBI inquiry was opened into the matter, but closed almost immediately because there was no there. But the scientist was still refused entry to the country, and he was sent back to France the next day. This will become standard operating procedure in a dictatorship, especially in a fascist or a Nazi dictatorship. This is how it works. If they don't deport you, they send you to a re-education camp. If they don't deport you or send you to a re-education camp, they send you to a death camp. Now, it's still unclear at this point. This may have changed. I haven't seen anything since I saw this at Truthout, but it's still unclear what specific statements were discovered. And as far as searching his electronic devices, these statements discovered on his electronic devices, did they have a search warrant? Is that legal? When you come to the United States and you're standing there in immigration entry, you're waiting for your visa, your passport, everything to be checked, do they have a right to just openly start investigating your electronic devices now? Has it always been that way? I honestly don't know, but it seems awful fucking fascist to me, does it not to you? So there's questions why the initial search was even conducted. Now, I do believe that Customs and Border Protection agents are now allowed to search the cell phones and computers and shit of any traveler. But apparently, those searches are so rare as to render them almost non-existent. And according to what I've read, those kinds of searches are conducted for fewer than one in every 100,000 travelers arriving to the United States. So how was this French scientist targeted? That's a little bit creepy, isn't it? Now, the French Minister of Higher Education and Research, Philippe Baptiste, decried, I love the word decried. I see it in, written reports. This one is in Truth Out. Decried the denial of entry and subsequent deportation of the individual. Decried. Well, whatever. It's in the AP style book, so I guess Truth Out could use it. Anyway, Mr. Baptiste said, quote, "This measure was apparently taken by the American authorities because the researcher's phone contained exchanges with colleagues and friends in which he expressed a personal opinion on the Trump administration's research policies." And Mr. Baptiste added, quote, "Freedom of opinion, free research, and academic freedom are values that we will continue to proudly uphold. And I will defend the right of all French researchers to be faithful to them in accordance with the law." End quote. That statement from the French Minister of Higher Education and Research. But the Trump administration, the sewer rat himself, is so anti-intellectual. He's the dumbest fucker in probably the history of this country to assume the presidency. Just a total ignorant savage. But the Nazis around him, they fully understand, just like the Christians always have, that education is a threat to their control. It's a threat to their power. It's something they cannot, and now with the toilet rat in charge, they will not allow to continue. Slowly, incrementally, whether it's at Columbia, it doesn't make any difference what university it's at. It doesn't make any difference what scientific organization is involved. Kill the idea of thought, research, education, discovery, science, medicine, curiosity. Smash it. Get rid of it. Because those are the areas in which revolt or revolution actually begin. So get rid of education, right? Now, there have been a lot of examples recently of the sewer rat violating the free speech rights of non-citizens in the U.S., including people that have green card status, which means they are legally and in the United States and cannot be fucked with under laws of the Constitution, like Mahmoud Khalil and students like Badr Suri. And in this newest case involving the French scientists, it appears that the administration of the toilet rat is going to expand this crackdown on free speech to include refusing entry to travelers to the U.S. based on their political opinions if they are anti-Trump. Well, this deportation of the scientists, by the way, Truth Out adds that this points out this comes a month after Trump's ape, J.D. Vance, bitched at a group of European leaders in Munich for supposedly being intolerant of speech from Nazis in their countries, including the speech in these countries that promoted neo-Nazi viewpoints. So once again, Trump's pet ape, this fucking J.D. Vance creature, displays one of the hallmarks of the Trump administration, utter and absolute and complete and total hypocrisy. They don't give a fuck. I can tell you I hate lemons while I'm eating lemons, and means nothing. Don't pay any attention to what I'm doing. Pay attention to what I'm saying. And Trump's pet ape, J.D. Vance, then after bitching at these European countries because they were trying to tamp down Nazism, the pet ape then championed the Trump administration for supposedly protecting free speech, a claim that has fucking zero merit. I mean, come on. Vance claimed at the event in Europe, quote, "In Washington, there's a new sheriff in town. And under Donald Trump's leadership, we may disagree with your views, but we will fight to defend your right to offer them in the public square," end quote. Oh, you fucking liar. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. You know, the Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.